Hello and welcome back. So today I'm going to speak about something a little bit different, and I think it's important because this affects all gamers. I didn't really want to weigh in on this, but I'm going to try and keep it short. There is an initiative to make it so that when you buy a game, you own a game, and if possible, when that game is discontinued, the means for you to carry on play it is basically left in your hands so that you can do just that. If you buy something, you should own it. If you don't own anything, then, piracy isn't theft. So we're in a strange world in 2025 where companies don't really want you to own anything. And it comes down to a base case of they don't want you to keep old games in some instances. So imagine it like this. You've got a copy of a game and a new copy of the game comes out. It's great, but it's not been adopted well. So they kill off the old game and say it's permanently discontinued. They throw away the servers, they throw away people's access, and they try and convince everyone, maybe even throw in a discount, to buy the new version of the game. Now, I'm not saying that this is what's happening with Dawn of War, but Dawn of War 1 is being remastered and recreated. You could still play Dawn of War 1 right now. It exists, it's out there. But when this new version comes out, I bet your ass you can't buy the old version of Dawn of War 1 anymore. I bet it's gone, discontinued. Like, they're even offering an incentive for upgrading, just like I was suggesting. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this necessarily, because currently it's an option, and this is just something I've just randomly picked out of the ether. I'm not saying they're going to do these kind of things, but it is incredibly shady when things like this happen, and we've just had an incident where someone owns Switch 2 and bought a game from a second-hand market. And because he bought a game from a second-hand market which had been previously registered to another Switch, his Switch ended up being bricked, so he couldn't play games anymore. So what happened with the Stop Killing Games initiative, the very short version is a high-profile YouTuber released a hit video on it, saying that it was stupid and impractical, which we know not to be the case. And it pretty much torpedoed it because everyone believed that at the time he was very knowledgeable about the situation and what was going on. Since then, there's been a whole lot of back and forth and hate about him, so I'm not going to try and involve him in this because it's honestly irrelevant. I care more about the gaming industry than I do about talking about some YouTuber. So what's happened previously is they've now hit the goal. Now that it's become a massive talking point, it has hit the goal. But there's also a lot of speculation that some of these votes are actually not legal votes and that they've been done either through naivety or malicious intent to get it over the 1 million mark. So here's the problem with this. If they've got 1.3 million votes and 500,000 are actually in America and they decide to discount those and go into the data, then this might never get looked at. So whatever this number says here, it's important for you to sign this petition if you live in the European Union. And that's the top and the end of it, really. I'm not going to recommend the UK petition because honestly they will follow Europe's stead anyway, and I wouldn't trust the current government in England to do anything. Yes, I know I'm English, and we know it's already kind of upset them because the Video Games Europe have already released 2 statements on this. So this is the second one where they say, "We appreciate the passionate AV community coming out and discontinued online services face multifaceted legal actions." Okay, let's just cut to the chase. Like, you can strip stuff out of games if you tell people what is and isn't copyrighted, and we're not asking for people to distribute stuff, right? If we talk about Darktide and Vermintide, for example, like, Vermintide runs through servers, but it's hosted locally. You could set that up to run through a LAN or to use a virtual network to connect to other people's computers. People already still do that to play Command & Conquer online because Command & Conquer's servers were decommissioned ages ago, but people still play Command & Conquer online. So it's not about the legality. I understand what they're saying, but we're not trying to distribute a discontinued game. We're trying to carry on accessing what we already paid for. And it is as simple as that. If they weren't bothered about it, they wouldn't be releasing statements on it, and it basically comes down to that. So if you didn't sign it already, I'm going to include the link down below. I suggest you sign it. You could Google about it, but that'd honestly send you down a massive rabbit hole. The long and the short of it is that gaming is unregulated and that people can do whatever they want, and they don't want you to have the control or the authority to dictate what happens. They just want you to buy something and them to be able to turn it off whenever they want. And I think that that should be illegal. So let me know what you think in the comments. I don't usually do this kind of content, so I wish you good fortune all yours come, and I'll see you in the next one.